Beneath Hollywood's shining lights lies a truth far darker than fame ever reveals. Some of its brightest legends didn't fall to accidents, scandals, or age, but to an invisible enemy that struck without mercy. These were stars who seemed unstoppable, yet inside their bodies, a silent infection was already counting down their final hours, leaving a trail of unanswered questions and heartbreak behind the glamour. Number 1. Jim Henson. Jim Henson, the creative force behind The Muppets and Sesame Street, seemed perfectly healthy in the days before his death in May 1990. He believed he only had the flu, continuing interviews and planning new projects while a hidden infection was silently spreading through his body. By the time he finally reached the hospital, his lungs were filled with bacteria and a rare, aggressive form of sepsis was already shutting down his organs. Doctors fought with antibiotics and life support, but the infection moved too fast for medicine to stop. His sudden death at just 54 stunned millions who had grown up with his characters. One week he was full of energy and ideas, the next he was gone, taken by an illness that hides behind ordinary symptoms. Jim's passing became one of the most powerful reminders of how sepsis can strike without warning, transforming simple sickness into catastrophe. His legacy lives through generations of children he inspired, and through the painful lesson his final hours left behind. Never ignore the quiet danger inside the body. Number 2. Patty Duke. Patty Duke, the Oscar-winning star of The Miracle Worker, was rushed to the hospital in March 2016 after sudden, unbearable abdominal pain. What seemed like a routine medical issue revealed something far more dangerous, a ruptured intestine that allowed bacteria to spread rapidly through her body. Within hours, sepsis had taken control, dropping her blood pressure and overwhelming her organs despite strong antibiotics and emergency care. Her family expected another comeback, but this time the infection advanced faster than anyone could fight it. When she passed away at 69, fans struggled to understand how someone so resilient could vanish so suddenly. Many had never heard the word sepsis, yet it was the true force behind her rapid decline. Patty had survived fame, mental health battles, and decades under the spotlight. But a silent infection ended her story in a single day. Her final chapter became a wake-up call, showing how quickly unnoticed symptoms can turn into a deadly storm. Number 3. Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac, one of comedy's most unforgettable voices, entered the hospital in August 2008 after struggling with fever and shortness of breath. Doctors diagnosed pneumonia, but behind the scenes, a deeper danger was already forming. The infection triggered sepsis, flooding his bloodstream with inflammation that began shutting down his organs despite ventilator support and aggressive treatment. For a few days, his condition rose and fell, offering moments of hope before collapsing again without warning. When he died at just 50, the world was stunned. Bernie had long battled health issues, yet no one expected a simple lung infection to take him so quickly. His death revealed a truth many didn't know. Pneumonia is one of the fastest paths to sepsis, even in strong, active adults. Bernie Mac's laughter filled millions of homes, and his final days became a stark reminder that even the brightest spirits can be silenced by an infection no one saw coming. Number 4. R. Lee Ermey. R. Lee Ermey, the iconic drill instructor from Full Metal Jacket, began feeling ill in April 2018 with what he believed was only a stubborn chest cold. True to his tough Marine persona, he kept pushing through appearances and commitments, unaware that pneumonia was tightening its grip on his lungs. As the infection spread, his immune system overreacted, triggering sepsis, a rapid chain reaction that causes blood pressure to crash and organs to shut down. Doctors fought to stabilize him, but the infection had already moved faster than medicine could counter. His death at 74 shocked fans and military communities alike. Ermi had always seemed larger than life, disciplined, loud, commanding, and fiercely dedicated to veterans. Yet even someone known for unbreakable strength could not outrun the silent speed of sepsis. His story became a solemn reminder that chest infections should never be ignored, and that this hidden killer can take down even the toughest warriors without warning. Number 5. Brian Dennehy. Brian Dennehy, the towering star of First Blood, Cocoon, and decades of acclaimed stage work, began feeling feverish and weak in April 2020. Those around him believed it was only a mild respiratory issue, but an unseen infection had already entered his bloodstream. As sepsis took hold, his heart and lungs deteriorated rapidly, triggering cardiac arrest before doctors could reverse the damage. The speed of his decline stunned loved ones who had just seen him reading new scripts and planning future work. His passing at 81 sent shockwaves through Hollywood and the theater world. Dennehy had built a career on strength and presence, commanding attention with every role he played. Yet his final hours revealed how silently sepsis can strike, even in someone still active and full of creative energy. His death became a reminder that infections must never be underestimated, and that awareness often comes too late for even the most seasoned legends. Number 6. Tanya Roberts. Tanya Roberts, the stunning Bond girl and beloved star of That 70s Show, collapsed suddenly at her Los Angeles home on Christmas Eve 2020. What began as a simple urinary tract infection had quietly worsened, spreading into her bloodstream before anyone realized the danger. In the hospital, doctors used oxygen support and strong antibiotics, and for a brief moment her condition seemed to improve. But sepsis is unpredictable. Within hours, her organs began to fail, and her body could no longer keep up with the rapid decline. She passed away at 65, leaving fans shocked at how quickly her health had turned. Tanya had been active online just weeks earlier, appearing bright and full of life. Her death became a painful reminder that even minor infections can become fatal when ignored or unnoticed. In the aftermath, medical experts used her story to warn the public that symptoms like fever, chills, or sudden weakness can signal the early stages of a deadly threat hiding in plain sight. Number 7. Nick Cordero. Nick Cordero, the Broadway star with a larger-than-life presence, entered the hospital in late March 2020 after struggling with fever and breathing difficulties. What first looked like a viral infection quickly spiraled into a chain of complications: blood clots, lung damage, and ultimately sepsis. Doctors placed him on a ventilator and fought for weeks to stabilize his organs, even amputating his leg to stop the spread of clots. Each small sign of improvement was followed by another sudden setback, as sepsis silently pushed his body past its limits. He died at just 41, a loss that shook the theater world. Nick had been known for his optimism, kindness, and powerful performances, making his long and public battle even more heartbreaking. His story became one of the clearest examples of how aggressively sepsis can strike, even in young and seemingly strong adults. In the months after his passing, his wife turned his struggle into a call for awareness, reminding people everywhere that infection can become life-threatening far faster than anyone expects. Number 8. Charlie Robinson. Charlie Robinson, best known for his warm, quick-witted presence on Night Court, was undergoing treatment for cancer when an unexpected infection took hold in July 2021. At first, he seemed to be recovering, talking about upcoming projects and the show's reboot, but the infection spread faster than anyone realized. It entered his bloodstream and triggered septic shock, causing his blood pressure to crash and his organs to fail despite immediate hospital care. By the next morning, doctors could no longer reverse the damage. He passed away at 75, leaving colleagues and fans stunned by the sudden turn in his health. For someone who had spent decades bringing calm humor to television, his rapid decline felt unreal. Charlie's death highlighted the high-risk cancer patients face, as weakened immune systems can turn even small infections into life-threatening emergencies. His legacy endures in the countless performances he left behind, and in the reminder that sepsis often gives no second chance. Number 9. Jeff Conaway. Jeff Conaway, remembered for his charm in Grease and his role on Taxi, was found unconscious in his home in early May 2011. At the hospital, doctors discovered severe pneumonia that had already begun spreading bacteria into his bloodstream. As sepsis took hold, his organs started shutting down despite intensive care, strong antibiotics, and ventilator support. He never regained consciousness, and his condition grew worse until there was no sign of brain activity left to save. He died at 60, a sudden end that shocked fans who knew his long fight with health issues but never expected a simple lung infection to be the final blow. Jeff's story became another warning about how quickly pneumonia can lead to sepsis, especially in those already vulnerable. His legacy as a sensitive, charismatic performer lives on, while his final days reveal how fast silent infections can overwhelm even those under hospital care. Number 10. Charlby Dean. Charlby Dean, the rising star of Triangle of Sadness, was at the peak of her career when she suddenly fell ill in August 2022. She arrived at a New York hospital with symptoms that worsened within hours, and doctors discovered a rare bacterial infection already spreading through her bloodstream. Because she had her spleen removed years earlier after a car accident, her body had far fewer defenses against aggressive bacteria, allowing sepsis to develop with terrifying speed. Despite immediate treatment, her organs began to fail faster than doctors could intervene. She died at just 32, a loss that stunned the film world. Only weeks earlier she had walked red carpets, smiling and full of promise, and her sudden death felt impossible to comprehend. Charlby's story highlighted how vulnerable people without a spleen can be, and how even a minor infection can become deadly if not treated at once. Her passing cut short a brilliant career just as it was beginning, leaving behind a haunting reminder of how quickly sepsis can steal a life. Number 11. Dushan Monique Brown. Known for her grounding presence as Connie on Chicago Fire, sought medical help in March 2018 after feeling lightheaded and experiencing chest discomfort. Doctors found nothing alarming at first and advised her to rest, but by the next day her condition collapsed without warning. An unidentified infection had already entered her bloodstream, triggering sepsis that caused her heart to stop before treatment could take effect. Despite emergency efforts, her organs had been overwhelmed too quickly to recover. She died at 49, leaving her castmates and fans in disbelief. Dushan had appeared healthy and full of energy on set just days before, making the suddenness of her passing even more heartbreaking. Her case became a stark reminder that sepsis can strike from hidden sources, progressing from mild symptoms to fatal collapse in mere hours. Those who worked with her remembered her kindness, humility, and quiet strength, qualities that made her loss feel even heavier across the Chicago Fire community. Number 12. Christopher Cazenave. Christopher Cazenave, the distinguished British actor known to American audiences for his role in Dynasty, was admitted to a London hospital in March 2010 after several days of feeling unwell. What began as a minor infection soon escalated as bacteria entered his bloodstream, triggering septicemia, a severe form of sepsis that spreads rapidly through the body. His condition rose and fell unpredictably for weeks, giving his family brief moments of hope before sudden declines erased any progress. Despite intensive antibiotics and life support, his organs could no longer withstand the relentless inflammation. He passed away at 64, leaving fans mourning a performer known for his elegance, warmth, and commanding presence. Christopher's death showed how easily bloodstream infections can be overlooked until they become catastrophic. Early symptoms like fever or chills often seem harmless, yet his story revealed how quickly sepsis can transform a routine illness into a fatal crisis. His legacy endures through decades of film and television work that still captivate audiences today. Number 13. Robert Trebor. Robert Trebor, beloved for his humorous role as Salmoneus in Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, and Xena, Warrior Princess, had spent years battling leukemia before undergoing a stem cell transplant. The treatment left his immune system extremely weak, and even a small bacterial infection became dangerous. In early 2025, that infection entered his bloodstream and quickly evolved into sepsis, damaging multiple organs despite constant medical care and aggressive antibiotics. Doctors worked to stabilize him, but his body could no longer fight back after months of fragile recovery. He died at 71, leaving a deep sadness among fans who cherished his wit and heart both on and off screen. Robert had remained hopeful throughout his treatment, sharing updates and humor with supporters until the very end. His death showed how vulnerable transplant and cancer patients are to fast-moving infections, and how sepsis can turn a minor illness into an unstoppable threat. His legacy lives on in the laughter he brought to millions and the humanity he carried into every role. Number 13. Robert Trebor. Number 14. George Dzunza. George Dzunza, a familiar face from Back to the Future and dozens of television roles throughout the 70s and 80s, had been feeling unwell in the weeks before August 2010. Known for pushing through work and fan events, he believed it was only a seasonal illness. But the infection inside him was spreading faster than anyone realized. By the time he reached the hospital, bacteria had already entered his bloodstream, triggering sepsis that caused his blood pressure to crash and his organs to fail despite immediate treatment. He passed away at 70, leaving friends and longtime colleagues stunned by the suddenness of his decline. George had always been humble, generous, and quietly dedicated to his craft, making his unexpected death feel even more tragic. His case underscored how dangerous untreated infections can be, especially for older adults who may dismiss early symptoms. George Dzunza's long career, filled with memorable roles and steady professionalism, remains a testament to a life lived with consistency and heart, even as sepsis claimed him without warning. Number 15. Conrad Brooks. Conrad Brooks, one of the last surviving figures from the classic Ed Wood era of B-movies, spent his final months quietly surrounded by family in West Virginia. Though already weakened by a long battle with prostate cancer, he continued meeting fans and responding to letters with his usual warmth. In late 2017, a seemingly minor infection took hold, one that his fragile immune system could no longer fight. The bacteria entered his bloodstream and rapidly triggered sepsis, causing severe organ failure before doctors could regain control. He died at 86, closing the chapter on a unique corner of Hollywood history. Conrad had embraced his cult film legacy with humor and gratitude, never distancing himself from the quirky projects that made him beloved by generations of genre fans. His death illustrated how quickly infections can become deadly for elderly patients, especially those already facing chronic illness. Though his films were small, his impact endured, and his final days served as a reminder of how quietly and swiftly sepsis can claim a life. Sepsis moved through these 15 lives in silence, striking without warning and stealing voices that shaped generations of film, television, and theater. Some were legends with decades of work behind them, others rising stars just beginning to shine. Yet the same hidden enemy cut through their strength with terrifying speed. Their stories remind us that even the smallest infection can become deadly when ignored, and that the body can fall long before anyone realizes the danger. Behind the glamour, behind the legacy, these final moments reveal how fragile even the brightest icons truly are.